American girls, not for the fact that they weren't of the same race, but in a more of a cultural differences. Did he understand the differences between the cultures? They was like, they didn't want him to feel like, you know, you can't date this person because they're not the same race, but they wanted him to understand how the cultures are different. And Jimmy, who was a black, and he was very attractive to white girlfriends, his parents basically asked him, just basically, why do you date white Caucasian girlfriends? And he basically said there's no specific reason, you know, he just dates them. So, I mean, again, we're talking about middle schoolers, they're still trying to get into it. But I know as somebody who's interracial, I'm not interracial. Well, I'm technically in an interracial relationship because I'm multiracial. I'm mulatto. So, because, you know, of my parents. But I know I definitely have a good number of friends and family members who date outside their races. Outside their race, and there's always that look. Like, one of my friends, and when her boyfriend started dating, it wasn't very accepted even in this time. Like, I remember my mom was telling me, because my brother's mixed, but his wife at that time was white, that she basically said she wanted black grandkids. So that only meant one thing. Mm-hmm. You know, there wasn't no really option because that was something.
Technically, you should have told her, well, you need to go back in the hands of time, get a new mate, and then your child will be black so they can have black kids. Because at this point, no matter who you date, that person's going to be multiracial or biracial. But yeah, parents are funny.
Yeah. So I wanted to get y'all views on interracial dating. I know our Ustream is hitting up on that subject. So we're going to go to Ustream first, give y'all a little bit of time to think about it. And then I'm going to ask, what are your views on interracial dating? But Lola, can you read our Ustream?
Let's see. Well, Jamel feels that interracial relationships is a touchy subject.
It can be.
And then Jacques says that race is not a factor for dating for me, obviously. I'm more concerned
Go Jacques.
with the mind of a woman and how she complements my being. You shouldn't limit yourself to something as simple as race.
All right, Jacques. Woo woo.
Mm-hmm. And then, Rashay thinks it's beautiful. Jamel, he thought about it some more. And he supports interracial relationships as long as you don't bash black women or men for your decision to date other races. He personally does not engage in interracial relationships.
And of course, I asked this question at work. I want to do a data collection. One of my coworkers, he basically said, "Simple, it's cool. Everybody does the same thing." He said he doesn't see a problem with it. He feels like the maturity level determines the factor over who agrees with it and who doesn't. And another one of my coworkers, actually one of my boss, he's interracial. I can't say anymore. Where I asked him, basically, has he ever been approached about it negatively? And he's basically, all they basically get is those bad looks when they walk. People don't agree with it. And I've definitely, coming from a family where half on white, half on black, throughout my life, I've heard them say something about each other. Even though the majority of my family is mixed, the time that all the grandchildren who were mixed born, it still wasn't acceptable, But I'm gonna start off with whoever wants to go first about what are your views on it. We'll start with Lola.
I love interracial dating. I don't.
You do.
Man, yeah. I don't see a problem with it. Obviously, I feel like people. I try not to see race though. So I don't know what y'all's problems over here, man. Y'all and Lola cracking up in the studio. These faces. It is beautiful. I agree with Rashay that it is a beautiful thing.
My love. Demo.
I can't even deal with y'all today. I don't have any problems with interracial relationships. I think they're beautiful. love is an amazing thing, and you don't always have control of who you fall in love with, and you really shouldn't limit yourself to, oh, well, I only want to be with this type of person. The young lady that I'm talking to right now is, in a lot of ways, very different from what I generally go for. But I think everything about her is amazing, and that's why I'm so attracted to her. So definitely don't put yourself in a box. And
You glowing. You in love?
if you are
The interracial
attracted
love.
to somebody that's outside of your race or outside of your norm, explore that. There's a reason for it.
My love.
Okay, for me personally, this is a subject that I have dealt with all of my life. Granted, I am, black.
What? For real?
Really?
Yes.
I thought you were brown.
Yes. No, I mean,
Dominican.
You like
no,
her,
right? No, but growing up, I never saw color. All I saw was, a person who was just like me, who had feelings, and if you cut them, they bleed too. You know what I'm saying? I saw, whatever. I saw another person. So, genuinely, in the region that I grew up, it was more so predominantly white. So, I had a phase to where I liked white boys. And then, when I say middle school, it kind of went diverse, and it was more white and Hispanic. Because that's what I was.
And Taco Bell.
That was very me. But anyways, that's what I was surrounded by. And then I say maybe around high school, it kind of drifted to, black men. And then, well, around college. But what I'm trying to get at is that it really shouldn't matter. As long as that person loves and treats you right and treats you like you're supposed to be treated, it shouldn't really matter. And a lot of people should be open to it. Sometimes it's okay to cross the fence and try a little something new. Sometimes it's okay. And a lot of people have a stigmatism about it, and they think, well, if I date this race, somebody gonna say, so what?
Yeah.
Screw everybody else.
They
Screw
should
them
stay
looks.
in their own relationships.
Screw them looks. I mean, as long as that person loves you, if you love that person, that's all that matters. Because at the end of the day, it's y'all too.
Got that?
So that's two
What I
against
heard
the
from Love
world.
say is that she got Asians next on the list.
Nah, definitely not.
I'm gonna say for me personally, race is big to me, and that's because that's what I've always been around. I've been around where your race is a big important, is of importance. So in everything that you do, you have to kind of think about it in your experiences with people and interactions. I want to mention the father of Luke.
Mm-hmm.
I think the cultural differences part can be true, but I think it's more until you got to check the actual the SES of those people involved, because 9 times out of 10 people that go to the same schools have the same SES background. So they're eating the same, they're going to the same places, they're wearing the same clothes, they're watching the same things on TV, so there's not really that much difference in it. When you go to college, you learn that as well. You start meshing, you start mixing, you start understanding that as much as we think we're all different, we're really not. We just come from different backgrounds. Well, some people had more money than others, or some people just had different experiences than others, but we're all the same. I actually thought Brittany was a really light-skinned black girl when I met her. Didn't know she was mixed.
I'll say that's why. Okay.
When I found out that she was mixed, my mentality changed as far as now I know that she's black and white. And so the stereotype that you have when you think a person is one race, you shouldn't have in the first place, but it's what we gravitate toward naturally anyway. So when I found out that she was both black and white, Now I think it's the best of both worlds.
I know, right?
But at the time, I was like, that's a big deal for me because I never really dated a person outside of African American girl. And so, what challenges will I have to face if there are any? And when I met her family, I realized that I'm just be real. They're blacker than some black people that I know, and they're not even black. And so, being with her and then having Jessica as a friend, has Jen as a friend, and having other non-African American women, and even having people like Malove, who's definitely has a bunch of Latino and Hispanic friends, and has friends of other races. It makes me think about it more. Working with people, being in a program when I'm like one of the only black people there, it makes you think about all of those different instances in which race is crazy because of the fact that, there's so many different experiences that a skin color does not necessarily can label. But, that's just in a nutshell kind of what I get.
Okay, we're gonna read what it says on Ustream and hope that we don't.
We got a few extra comments now. Rashay thinks that black men dating outside of their race is more common than black women dating outside of their race.
That's a negative.
But
Mom black.
but I feel one shouldn't be inferior than the other.
Right.
I mean,
I see a lot more. I feel like
more so black women do it on the low. And it's
But
like
that movie.
Now.
that movie's something new.
I mean, now they do it openly, but more so it's been
I
done
think
on
it's
the
more.
low.
I think it's more black men.
Okay.
I think it depends on the probably location
Yeah.
or something like that.
I know that.
Because in places like New York, you have all type of mixing. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. And our last comment, Jamel, first of all, doesn't think you should bash people for their decision to date outside of their race,
Thank you, Mel.
but is a little timid about dating a white woman because we are in the deep south. And there are, numerous stories of where black men's lives could be ruined because she ended up claiming it was rape. And that's it.
And I know
I
what
feel
he's
like
talking about.
anyone's
But-
life should be ruined if she is rude enough to claim it was rape.
But
However,
in some places you can still
I
get
can.
snatched up
I can
and
see
hauled
that.
to the
Yeah.
lynch.
Yes.
Especially depending on her age.
Yeah,
Although
that's true.
although those instances don't happen as much as they used to, there definitely is that, especially in this location. Hey, you think about that. You really do think about
You
that.
really do.
Being closer
I
to
can
the
see that.
campus, no, it's not as big of a deal. But when you go to some of those rural towns where that person's family is, and you see those interactions, and you get those faces, you get those looks, you do think about, oh man, this may be bad. I love this person, but I like this person a lot, but.
Ignorant.
But then it takes for you as a person to be like, am I gonna let this overcome me, or am I gonna, rise above this and not care? And that's because I've had the same thing. Because my prom date was of the opposite race of me, and
A different race? It's
They
more
were
than one.
aliens?
no,
There was more than one now.
okay, he was
Opposite.
white. Dang, leave me alone.
Y'all so opposite. I don't know.
Anyways, so
Just on the
I didn't. A lot of my friends wanted to know, of course, who I was going to the prom with.
One race, another race, opposite.
Anyways, they wanted to know who I was going to the prom with. And long story short, when I walked in with my prom date, a lot of the looks was like, oh my God. First, the first look was, oh my God, y'all look so beautiful together. And then two, it was, a lot of guys coming up and was like, dang, I'm with my date. You didn't want to ask me. So when somebody else outside of my race decided to ask me, now y'all got a problem? Yeah, no, step off. And that's how I was the rest of the night. And same for him. So, I mean, it is what it is. It is what you make it, basically.
True. We got some more comments on Ustream. Jamel wanted to point out that Statesboro is a little bit more tame than where he's from.
A little bit more tame.
Yeah, so it's a little bit more
Jamel
expensive.
still got dirt roads where you live.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Jack said that he was scared when he first started dating his significant other, which is Caucasian.
She lives in a place with a first name.
Yeah, and she's she's from a small town too. But like he said, once he met her
First name.
fam and they understood,
Can't trust her.
they got to know him more. They, didn't really look at his color. And I definitely had that issue in my family about, even though, like I said, we're mixed, it's still pushing buttons sometimes. When you come from such a big family that comes from a very small town, like it's really one road. You go out of the road using another city, and we're all located right there. So the standards are a little bit different, but we're very more acceptable to it because we open the eyes to the older generations. I think it takes the younger generations to kind of show the older generations that hey, what y'all were taught is not how the world is now.
But a lot of times back in the day, there was plenty of interrelations.
But it wasn't accepted.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't accepted, but they still went on. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like there hasn't been interracial. You know what I'm trying to say? Interracial dating. There has been plenty in numbers, but the sad part about it, which gets me, is sometimes interracial dating is not, a choice for some people. You know what I'm saying? Because I was talking about this over spring break with one of my cousins. She's in middle school, and she just moved from Pensacola to basically the metro Atlanta area, to two different extremes. She was basically going to a predominantly white school, and now she is going to pretty much an all, black school. And she's really having a hard time trying to fit in, because a lot of black kids, especially the females, are very jealous of her because of her skin color and the fact that she typically acts white.
Yeah.
Now, at her other school, a lot of the white boys kind of liked her, and because but I just wanted to kind of point that out, that everybody goes through it.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, because some people don't, it's based off your kind of like she said, your personality. But there was in 1980, only 3.2% of marriages were interracial. In 2010, it was 15.1. I'm pretty sure it's a lot higher in 2013. But we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to give our shout outs, and then wrap up the show. This is the Love Loop.